Welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. And this week, welly, eh? How the turntables. Cue the music! Hello there, Capers, and as I said, welcome to Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. My name is Scott James Merridew, and this is the show where we talk about various geek and nerd-related topics, and are joined each week by a very special different guest. Guest today has been on the show plenty of times before, Podcapers' editor, Alex Mirabal.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Alex. So, we're going to get into the recent development over at Star Wars in just a bit. Oh god, there's so much I want to talk about. But there are some other stuff we want to talk about. We'll be talking about plenty of Star Wars video games in but a moment. But before we have to do that, gotta do the news! Yeah, we're jumping right into the news with a bunch of stuff. So, a couple of episodes ago, I remember Alex, I was talking with Mark about the latest Doctor Who special and how it had a lot of problems that had been going on for a while in Doctor Who. But one of the things that wasn't a problem was Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. Do you watch Doctor Who?
Oh, no, I've never watched Doctor Who, ever.
Well, that's your homework for tonight. Watch like 50 odd years of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I'll do it all in one night.
Just cram that shit. It's fine, you know. The Patrick Troughton series will just go right by.
Watch everything at 3 times speed.
But here's the thing, though, Capers. We haven't talked about it before because we've been busy doing other stuff. But like a day or two after we recorded that episode, it was announced that Jodie Whittaker was leaving Doctor Who.
Oh shit!
Yeah, only 3 years, which is about the same amount of time that her predecessor Peter Capaldi had on the show. And this is it's a worrying trend.
I have a feeling that she is maybe getting bigger than she expected. Really, like I'm sure she's getting a lot of offers from a lot of places.
Hopefully, because she is a very good actor. She was in Broadchurch beforehand. She's been in lots of stuff. She is a very good actor, and she deserves to get bigger roles and, follow in the footsteps of David Tennant and Karen Gillan. And Peter Capaldi, actually, because Peter Capaldi is going to be in the new Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I think it's like stuff like that. It's just she's getting calls like that, and is like, they pay more.
Yeah, fair enough. And considering that the BBC is not really supporting Doctor Who and is not putting enough effort, and that's due in large part to Chris Chibnall, I'm not going to rehash all the grievances that I brought up in that episode. But it is a bit of a shame. I did like her as the 13th Doctor, and I'd be sad to see her go, but we're going to get another season with her, so that'll be fine, and she'll presumably leave after that. Who comes next? I don't know. People are pushing for it to either be a woman or a person of colour, or hopefully both. And I would certainly like to see that. I don't want them to immediately go back to another white man.
Ugh,
just because. Yeah, because, regeneration, the whole thing about recycling the actors, it's very much... They establish that it's fairly random, so it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense why a woman hasn't happened up until now. But there's been a lot of people saying, the problems are because she's a woman, or because identity politics, all that shit. That's not the problem, as I made clear in that episode. It's not the problem. Jodie Whittaker leaving is not a good thing for the show. If anything, it's a bad thing for the show. At least it opens up the opportunity for bad things to happen to the show. I don't want to put that sort of pressure on whoever comes next. And so, yeah, it just kind of sucks. I got the horrible feeling like she listened to our episode and just thought, well, if that's how you feel, screw you guys, I'm out of here. But nevertheless, we wish Jodie Whittaker the very best. And someone who needs the very best right now, another person who has left a big science fiction franchise is Ray Fisher.
Left.
Yeah, that's one way of putting it, in fairness. It's... Oh, God. So, this wasn't really... this is only my, peripheral consciousness for a little while, and until it suddenly exploded into the front of my mind, like, wait a minute, what the fuck's going on here? And a lot of really bad shit.
Yeah, it's a fucking clusterfuck, and I hate everyone involved except for Ray Fisher. It's just a fucking and it doesn't it doesn't look good for DC in any fucking capacity
No, that they
or
there was no
whatsoever.
way they were going to come out of this looking good. The
Mm-mm.
question was how bad they were going to end up looking, and it turns out really fucking bad. Because so what happened was they in addition to a very troubled, a lot of tension on set between him and Joss Whedon,
Mhm.
who is swiftly becoming, on the same level as J.K. Rowling for me, i.e., someone I used to really admire and still do for their creativity and talent, but less so for them as a person. So there's a lot of tension on set, but also, and then it came to light that in post production, I think it was they changed Ray Fisher's or some of the marketing skin tone.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. I mean, I know that Joss Whedon cut like 3 black like bigger black characters from Justice League.
Oh shit! I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of a clusterfuck going on. There's a lot of real stuff going on. Ray Fisher was understandably not happy, and he did the smart and brave thing, which unfortunately is a bit very risky in this sort of time, to speak about it publicly, forcing Warner Brothers to make corrective actions. And apparently they have made corrective actions, so okay. And but there's still problems going on. And
It's mainly that Jeff Johns hasn't been fired. He's just been like he's just been like demoted to TV rather than movies.
shuffled off to the side where he supposedly can't hurt anyone. Don't really believe that. And it's just, I feel so bad for Ray Fisher because hopefully this won't be the case, but there's going to be some sort of blowback to his career.
Yeah, and it's like because he was definitely the most like he was the least well known actor going into Justice League
Yeah,
of the core group, and
I'd never heard
so
of him before.
yeah, he's a Broadway actor. Um,
Oh. Oh,
so
imagine that. You go on Broadway and then you get the opportunity to be in a big blockbuster
yeah, and
superhero
a big
movie, and this is
blockbuster
what
movie, and you were
happens.
supposed to get your own too. But then, yeah, like, because of racism, and that's like exactly what it is. Like Jeff Johns is apparently a racist douchebag on set. Um, like
Jeez.
it's just it's such a clusterfuck. Like he missed out on this opportunity, and people like the only people I've seen like actually back him up, and I don't know why they won't do it. But the like really the only person I've seen back him up is Kirstie Clemens, and it's like great, thank you, but you're another like she's another black woman that was cut from Justice League due to racism. Like someone else like obviously it's a good thing that she's speaking up, but we it needs to be Ben Affleck. It needs to be Gal Gadot. It needs to be any of the white actors who are in that movie. Like
But here's the thing:
and
they've kind
aren't
of got it made
expendable.
because they're not. Yeah, but also, um, I guess there might be a fear of the
They
studio
would
reacting negatively to them.
They would
Not that excuses
never
it.
fire Gal. Like,
Oh no,
she is, like and Ben Affleck's already gone. What does he have to lose?
this is the thing, and it's just this is what studios do. They bully people beyond being racist. They just bully people into silence and puts people who speak out against stupid bigoted stuff like that to the equivalent of corporate whistleblowers. And people are threatened. Don't think for a second people aren't threatened. It's not like people say, oh, it's not like the 40s anymore when like studio enforcers would come around your house and say, okay, like Mr. Warner doesn't want you to keep on bad mouthing the picture, see? It's stuff like that. It's not as obvious and not as obviously provable, so you can go to the police, but the intimidation still goes on.
Mhm.
And thankfully, people like Ray Fisher and also like John Boyega
Mhm.
speak out of this kind of thing. And here's the thing: John Boyega, he's still getting work, thankfully. He's
'Cause
still speaking up.
he has gotten the opportunity to really express himself and prove himself as an actor, in, like, on the American side. So he was able to get jobs before he would like, he was able to solidify himself before he would have, like, tanked his career by being so outspoken.
Yeah, because he
Uh,
did Detroit, he done Attack the Block, he done a bunch of things. He's doing a couple of things right now over here.
mhm.
So he's doing great, but what's Ray Fisher doing right now? I don't know of anything he's doing.
He was supposed to be in The Flash.
Oh yeah. Oh god, it's just a fucking mess, and this should be the easiest thing in the world. The easiest thing in the world. And it's easy for me to say that because I have no stake in it and I will suffer no negative consequences for speaking out against it. But it should be the easiest thing in the world to speak out against blatant racism.
Mhm.
It should be. And if you don't, you're part of the problem. It's not enough to not be racist, you have to be anti-racist.
Yeah, I Ezra Miller, like, of all people, needs to say something. Like,
Ezra Miller's a
mm,
cunt.
yeah, well, that's
No,
true,
I'm
but,
sorry.
like,
Look,
he needs to
everything
say
I've heard
something.
about this guy is not great, and uh, just it's another nail in the coffin of the DCEU. I'm not saying this is going to kill it. If anything, it's going to keep on going without him, which is part of the
Mhm.
problem.
Well,
But
okay, I the way DC is going right now, and I don't think, like, I don't think the Flash is this, like, light in the at the end of the tunnel that they think it's gonna be. I think, like, the way DC needs to go and the way they seem to be having success is just, like, pulling out up, like, the weirdest shit, giving it to some, like, really visionary director, and then just saying, "Do what the fuck ever." Like, they're connected, but it doesn't fucking matter. Just go. Just go.
you
Just do it.
you're part of a family, but you've got enough independence to go and do your own thing without worrying about how it's going to affect the overall tapestry of the story,
Mhm.
which is incredibly freeing for a director. That's why we got such great things like Doom Patrol.
Yeah, and Birds of Prey is potentially getting an HBO Max series?
They're fucking better.
Yeah,
And
instead of a
the
movie,
Harley
it's like,
Quinn
fine.
animated series,
Oh
God,
my god, that's so good.
I love. I mean, I dipped in and out of it just because it's a bit too fast paced for me,
That's fair.
with like a 20-minute runtime. But it's
Mhm.
still really good,
It's so
and I
fucking
really enjoy
funny.
it. It's grown on me an awful lot, and
Mhm.
oh god, it's just a mess. Get your shit together, DC, Warner Brothers. It's just Warner Brothers in general needs to
Mhm.
get its shit together. I know you've got HBO Max now, but that doesn't
Oh,
inoculate you against
w
consequences.
weird good DC things. I started listening to Audible Sandman. Holy shit, that's so good.
It's so fucking fantastic.
Oh my god.
Like I got to the Sandman fandom late,
Mhm.
and I'm still sort of building on it very slowly. But it's so good. James McAvoy. You wouldn't think immediately James McAvoy Morpheus, but that's just because of
Mhm.
his physicality. But then you
Right.
remember, oh shit, he's a really good actor. It's just his
And it's
voice.
just his voice. Yeah.
It's so good. Kat Dennings is great in it as
Oh,
Death.
she's so good. I was like, "Wait, Death's supposed to be a teenager," but, like, she does it so well. She can do teenager, apparently.
Michael Sheen is fucking the devil.
Mhm. Taron
Also, as
Egerton
Lucifer.
is John
Awesome.
Constantine.
There's so many great.
And
Riz Ahmed is in it at some point. I have it's a
he's
long
the
audio
yeah,
book.
he's the Corinthians. It's very good. Or
Oh
the
god,
Corinthians.
I'm only like halfway through it just because it's so long, and I usually listen to it when I'm commuting to work,
Yeah,
and I've not been
that has
doing
been
that for a
happening. Yeah,
while.
I've been listening to it while I've been walking Penny.
I need to do that when I'm walking my dog as well, but
Mhm.
it's just it's so fucking good. So we got that out of the way. Now I want to pivot away to the big news. So let me take you back to 2012. I was in university in Southampton, Solent, talking about screenwriting and all that wonderful stuff. And one day I was in my flat, and my roommate walks into my room and he's just like, "Hey, Scott, you know how you hate Disney?" "Yes, I'm very much aware of how much I hate Disney." "They just bought Star Wars." "Oh, I don't believe you. I'm going to Google that right now, just to prove how wrong you. Oh, fuck." What followed was about an hour and a half of crying in my other flatmate's room in the fetal position, followed by 8.5 years of pure abject rage. I bring this up just to set the scene. Just to set the scene. Because, oh god. How best to encapsulate my thoughts on Disney without going on a long extended rant?
All right, now get out there and make me some goddamn money.
Yeah, we've got sound clips now. Deal with it. I'm going to use these fucking memes and shove them down your throat. Oh, God. So, yeah, and I knew things were going to go bad right off the bat when they announced they were going to make an episode 7 without, checking, hey, fans, do you want an episode 7? No, because it's just because they want to make as much money. My second red flag came when they completely and utterly obliterated LucasArts. LucasArts was the video game wing of Lucasfilm. They were iconic, Alex. I know, being someone who is so miserably young in her early 20s compared to me, an old fogey in his late 20s, but LucasArts were responsible for some of the best video games that have ever been made. And then they were just fucking Kamehameha'd by Disney. Gone. Hundreds of employees laid off. Projects that were in development for quite a while just completely erased, gone, cancelled. And it's like, okay. But you're Disney. You're going to want to make as much money off this as possible. You're going to start making video games again at some point, right? Right? Well, not exactly. They gave the exclusive, for some reason, Star Wars video game license to EA, who have been voted consistently one of the worst companies in America.
The worst movie business and the worst video game business working hand to hand.
Oh God, I mean, when that was announced, every single Star Wars fan and everyone who'd ever played an EA game just stood up at once, turned their heads and said, "What? What the hell are you doing?" And Disney's excuse was, "Oh, we don't really understand video games." I'm just like, bitch, you work with Square Enix on a bunch of games. You may not understand them, but you know who does understand them? We, the video gamers. And we're here to tell you, EA is shit. They're evil. Please, please, please don't give them the exclusive license. Let them develop a game and we'll see how it goes, sure. But don't give them complete enough power over that. But they did. Because
we've got to have money.
I am going to overuse that. Warning you right now. So, and that's what we got. We got a bunch of games cancelled, but that's okay because we got a brand new Star Wars Battlefront game. Even though we already had Star Wars Battlefront games, so we didn't really need them. And we're going to go into just how crap they are in just a bit. But, needless to say, the situation was not good. Until recently, because it's been announced that EA, while still continuing to make Star Wars games, have lost the exclusive license.
Woo!
Oh, thank crap on a bicycle. And, however, it's a good news, bad news sort of thing. They've lost the exclusive license, but someone else is going to make a Star Wars game. An open world sandbox game. Ooh. Okay, that should be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly bad news. It's Ubisoft.
That's, oh my god. Okay, well, at least put the Assassin's Creed crew on it. They're good at sandbox.
It doesn't matter because EA is awful, but Ubisoft, I was a big Ubisoft fan. Assassin's Creed was the first game I ever played on PlayStation 3.
Mm-hmm.
And since that time, they've gone from being, a solid company that worked on, games with a crew of, people who have different religions, backgrounds, and ethnicities, to a company that overly monetizes their games, pushes harmful loot boxes and microtransactions in there, and also covers up horrific abuse.
Yeah. And still
So-
thinks that women as protagonists can't sew.
Evie Fry, just right there.
Well, that's the reason why there hasn't ever been like a mainline Assassin's Creed game with just a female protagonist. It
No,
was supposed to be Cassandra. They said no, and they forced them to put Alexios in there.
Alexius, the weird male gigolo stubble weirdo.
Yeah, who's
Nah.
not even nearly as good as Cassandra. And then
No.
same thing happened in Valhalla.
Oh yeah. It's. I mean, yeah, they've taken the more RPG route recently, and I'm fine with
That's
that.
the excuse.
Yeah, but it's not a great excuse. I see through your lies, Ubisoft. And here's the thing. People always say, oh, well, if you don't like Ubisoft, just don't buy the games. And I say, okay, that's not a terrible idea, but here's the thing. I don't think it should really be up to us, the gamers, the consumers, to regulate the company. Like, yes, vote with your wallet is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, but why is the onus on us to police these companies and stop them from, breaking European law by including gambling in their games for children, and also stop them from covering up horrific sex abuse scandals? Why is that on us?
Why
No?
why is that on us to stop them from doing crunch and releasing broken games? And this is not just Ubisoft. This is
No.
I was poking at CD Projekt Red and
You are well within your rights to, because
and Naughty Dog.
Oh, you know what? I side rant on fucking CD Projekt Red.
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
Shut up! I'm gonna go on a rant. No, cause okay. So everyone's saying, "Oh, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be awesome." Why? Because of The Witcher 3. And I'm like, okay, look, I've seen the trailers for Cyberpunk 2077. That looks awesome. I'm going to play it. I still haven't, IRL, but this is back in the past.
Yeah.
But by your logic, all that proves is that CD Projekt Red is good at making The Witcher 3. I don't see you talking about The Witcher 1 or indeed The Witcher 2. And Witcher 2 was all right, but nowhere near as good as Witcher 3. And all they've done since then is a bunch of side games involving Gwent and Thronebreaker and all that shit that no one talks about because, it's Gwent and Thronebreaker. Who gives a fuck?
Who cares?
Yeah, see? So, I think, I'm just saying, some people who perpetuate the hype train kind of have this coming. People who had nothing coming, absolutely whatsoever, and don't deserve any flack whatsoever, was the poor dev team, who got crunched and bullied into rushing out a game while the executives lined their pockets and lied to us.
Mm-hmm. And then threw the QA testers under the bus.
Oh, yeah. But, God, we can't talk about everything wrong with the video game industry because we're going to be here forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, with this new announcement that Ubisoft are going to do an open world Star Wars game, I wanted to take you, Alex, on a little bit of a history lesson. Let's go through all the Star Wars games. Actually, no, we'll be here forever. Let's do a general overview of the Star Wars games. And hopefully, we'll get to the point with Star Wars games where we'd be willing to say,
Shut up and take my money!
Hope springs eternal. So, Star Wars, I was telling Alex this yesterday, Star Wars video games can be divided into 3 generations. Old school, my generation, and Alex's generation. So the old school was like Atari, arcade stuff, going up to like the early 90s, because it didn't really start until the 80s after Return of the Jedi, because that's when the technology really caught up. And then there was like the late 90s through to the late 2000s, which is my generation, and that's when the whole thing with LucasArts happened. So let's start with the old school. I mean, we got your classic Atari games like Star Wars for the arcade and the Atari 2600, the Famicom version, the NES version, Super Star Wars for the SNES. I've not played any of these games, so I can't really talk about them too much. classic Atari sort of arcadey stuff. You can look it up on YouTube and things like that. It's, in fact, I think as Super Star Wars for the SNES has been re-released on things like PS4 and stuff, so you can still check them out. But if you're looking for a really in-depth, cool sort of gaming experience, you're not especially going to find it. My Star Wars journey really began in 1999. A sort of dark period for a lot of Star Wars fans, as this was the release of The Phantom Menace. However, how old was I in 1999? I would have been 7 years old. And here's the thing. 7-year-olds are not stupid. But I was. I was very stupid. So I like The Phantom Menace. I'm better now. I grew up. I learned. I understand. I didn't have critical skills back then. It's not my fault. My parents just put on whatever Disney VHS was to hand whenever we asked to see a film. So I had no culture growing up. It's not my fault.
I was 2, and I saw it in theaters with my dad.
When you were 2?
Yeah, when I was 2, because he had I had already basically seen every Star Wars movie at that point.
Shit.
But my dad's a fucking nerd. So he took me, and I sat there what? He thought I was gonna fall asleep, or I just wasn't gonna pay attention. But it looked like I wasn't really, nothing really was clicking. And then I saw Yoda, and I stood up on the little box thing that was lifting my seat up. And I screamed, Yoda!
2-year-old Alex, Yoda! I know you!
It's like that I recognize. I recognize that one.
That's sweet. And so, well, I'm guessing at 2 years old, though, you didn't play the video game version, which was released for PlayStation and Microsoft Windows.
No.
Now, at the time, my family couldn't afford a PlayStation. Later on, we would get a PlayStation 2. But all we had was a PC, which was the family computer, which I was allowed to play Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace on. And it was... let me describe it to you. So, imagine blocky polygons that are crudely arranged in a vague shape of Ewan McGregor. That's who you start off playing. No facial definition, just little dots where the eyes are and the slight smudge where the nose should be. No mouth, of course.
Beautiful.
And just a bunch of polygons and big cubes for hands. It was 1999, cusp of the millennium. We worked with what we had. And it basically follows the plot of the movie, except... So when you think of an RPG, you think, okay, camera over the shoulder sort of thing. Not so in the Phantom Menace video game. What we had was a top-down perspective tilted slightly forward. So you did see Obi-Wan Kenobi's back and not just the top of his head, but you could only see 20 feet in front of you if you were lucky, and it made for the most disorientating experience because you'd be walking down a corridor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, then people would start shooting at you in front of you, but you couldn't see the person. You just see the blaster bolts zipping towards you. And it's oh shit, I guess we're fighting now. Who is it? Oh, it's battle droids. I'm a likely suspect. Here's the thing, though. The combat is an incredibly mixed bag because, well, at least with a lightsaber, because when blaster bolts start coming towards you, you could swing your lightsaber and deflect them back. And it was really, really cool. And the sound effects were really great. It's this is awesome. Then you jump towards them and you'd cut a battle droid down with your lightsaber. It was awesome. Then you had your force powers. You had the amazing force power to jump, do a double jump, and force push, which basically meant Obi-Wan would wave his hand in front of him and anything in a 5-meter radius would fall down slightly or get pushed back a little bit. And that's it. And if you did it too much, then you would run out of force power, and all he would do, he'd keep doing the hand motion, but all would come out was just a little force fart. Just a little...
Yeah, oops.
Obi-Wan, wait for it to recharge. Jeez. And that was just with a lightsaber, because you start off as Obi-Wan, but then as the game goes on, you take off the role of Qui-Gon, then Captain Panaka. You remember that guy, Panaka?
Sure.
That beloved character, Panaka?
Exactly.
And then later, Padme. And the shooting was fine, I guess. You'd be fucking lucky if you hit anything, but it was fine. You know, just shoot randomly and hope you hit something. But then you get to the lightsaber fights. You only have really one lightsaber fight. Well, two. Once with Qui-Gon and Darth Maul, and another time with Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. But all you could do was just run up to Darth Maul, hit the lightsaber fight button, and then the lightsaber's just... And then he just hit you with his lightsaber while you hit him with your lightsaber. No way the lightsabers clash, but he's got way more health than you. So you get down to like 1% health, you jump back and realized, oh shit, how am I going to get this guy? And then you just whip out a blaster and just keep shooting at him whilst running around the map. That's all you could do. It was really fucking annoying. Oh, that's not all that's fucking annoying. So the first level with Qui-Gon, you arrive on Tatooine. Padme's right beside you. She's like, don't worry, I've been trained in self-defense. Let's go. You immediately run into a bunch of Tusken Raiders. The Tusken Raiders run towards you. They run past you. They immediately start swamping Padme. Does she fight back? No! She immediately starts getting stabbed by the Tusken Raiders, goes, help, falls over, and you have to run over there and kill the Tusken Raiders before she dies in 5 seconds, and the game is over. It's really, really fucking annoying.
Who cares?
I care. Shut up. No one's going to get that reference. Anyway, oh god, and you also get mind trick. You get like dialogue boxes, and sometimes you can mind trick someone, and that's okay. Just the weird thing was though, I didn't play it with a keyboard. I played it a little bit with the keyboard, but I had a joystick, so I played with the joystick, and that was a lot of fun. The only problem was the draw out your lightsaber and start swinging wildly button, and the talk to someone button is very close to each other on that joystick.
Uh-oh.
And this is a game that has no real problem with you killing off side characters that aren't flagged as essential.
Uh-oh.
And this one time, I was in Naboo. It was during the invasion of Theed. And I was running around as Obi-Wan. And then I ran into this person's house. Because, you know, Zelda rules. And she's like, please, can you help me? You need to save my son. We got separated by the battle droids. And everyone's like, don't worry, madam. I'll save your son. Runs off. Finds the kid. Goes to talk to the kid. Guess what happens?
Oh, you pulled an Anakin.
I did pull an Anakin, 7 years old. I go to talk to this kid and I lop his fucking head off.
Jesus. Why do they let you kill kids?
I don't know. GTA doesn't fucking let you do that. Skyrim doesn't let you do that. But I guess The Phantom Menace by LucasArts very much did. And it was really, really fucking weird. Flash forward a few years, and we come to Star Wars Starfighter, which I never played, but I did play Star Wars Jedi Starfighter, where you take the role of Jedi Knight Adi Gallia, zooming around at the very, very, right before the start of the Clone Wars, in your Jedi fighter pilot, helping a bunch of pirates free a system from this evil weapons developer. And it's that game sort of kick-started my love of flight sims, specifically, sci-fi flight sims. It was an awful lot of fun because you could zoom around shooting people in your Jedi Starfighter, but also use force powers. It was really, really cool. And you could also unlock lots of different other fighters, like the X-Wing and TIE Fighter and the other stuff that was in the game. It was an awful lot of fun. And I think it's a direct precursor to the more recent game, I don't know if you played it, Star Wars Squadrons.
Yeah, no, I've never played it. I've heard it's pretty fun, but I've never touched it.
But things really didn't kick off for me. This is in the PlayStation 2 era until 2005, Revenge of the Sith, a video game that came out before the movie
Of course.
Why? Why would you do that? I don't understand.
It is a tie-in video game staple, especially at that time period. To just no one cares about this video game. It's just a way to get extra money, so put it out fucking whenever.
We've got to have money.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And I mean, not even like right after, just right before. It was really weird. And it includes clips from the movie. So if you played the game before you saw the movie like I did, you got kind of spoiled. Although at that point I was very much in the prequels suck mode. So, 2005, I was 13. So I'd grown up by that point. Gone a long way from 7. But here's the thing. The game is really, really good. Like, more good than it has any right to be. It's comprised of levels, and you alternate between Anakin and Obi-Wan. And, when you fight a bunch of battle droids and stuff, it's okay, it's fine. But where it gets really good is the lightsaber combat. The lightsaber combat is fantastic.
Oh.
Because the blades lock on when you find another person with a lightsaber. You can do lots of combos and tricks, but the lightsabers feel like they have real weight to them. Hell, in the main menu, you can go to like a versus menu where it's just one-on-one lightsaber duels, and it's got a lot of weight to it. It feels like a proper like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat fighter, just with lightsabers. It was really quite impressive. Made even more so when you play as Anakin and go through the Jedi Temple, murdering Jedi left, right, and center. No kids, though.
No kids. They won't let you do that in the video game.
No, it's... no, it was... I just remember thinking, like, this is actually quite a lot of fun. And you get to, pick different characters in the versus thing, like Mace Windu and... Count Dooku, and even bonus characters like Darth Vader and old Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's a lot of fun. But not Yoda. He was just relegated to like his side level thing. It was kind of weird.
You finally get to see Yoda fight, and they don't even make him a video game character.
I know. They save that for like the fucking Lego games.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was pretty much... well, no, that was almost the end of the PlayStation 2 era. Before that... Still on PC, we had gotten the Jedi Outcast Jedi Academy games. And they followed ex-Stormtrooper Kyle Katarn as he brushes with the Force, gets trained by Luke Skywalker, learns to, accept his role as a Jedi, decides to fucking abandon it for Jedi Outcast, re-gets it again, and then becomes a side character in Jedi Academy. And I didn't play Outcast until after I played Academy, and Academy's really good. I recommend it for people interested in old school Legends canon Star Wars, because you get to make your own Jedi, either a male or a female, pick different races like Rodian, Keldor, Twi'lek, all that stuff, and you get to go and have adventures throughout the galaxy, and it's really, really fun, and the lightsaber combat is interesting. Because it's nowhere near as bad as The Phantom Menace, but it's not as good as Episode 3. What it is, again, I play this with a joystick. You put out your lightsaber, another guy puts out his lightsaber, you run towards him, your lightsabers clash, and then you just have to sort of break apart. And you just have to keep on mashing together until your lightsabers lock, and you're able to get the killing blow. And that's not really how the game is designed. It's just the best strategy. You jump in, hit him with your lightsaber, jump back in again. And there is a lot of movement. And in fairness, a lot more force powers. Like, you realize the game is broken when you unlock Force Choke. Then you just choke the bastard, lift them up the air, and then throw them away. And you're in a lot of levels where you're up high. So you just throw them over a chasm and they're done for. It's really fucking easy. It's an awful lot of fun, and there's not really much more I could talk about it. People have gone into much more depth than I ever could. There's only 2 more games I want to talk about from that era, and this is the thing I'm going to spend the most amount of time talking about. The Force Unleashed and Knights of the Old Republic.
I didn't know Force Unleashed wasn't EA era. I had it for the Wii, which apparently is a very different game from the one everyone else played.
No,
Because
here's the thing.
Luke's not in it.
So, The Force Unleashed, and by extension, The Force Unleashed 2, was sort of the denouement of the LucasArts era. So, The Force Unleashed came out, and it was all, was it Hayden Blackman? I think it was.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Possibly. There's a bunch of people who came up with this idea. It's like, hey, what if we could play as a Jedi, but on steroids? And thus was born The Force Unleashed, where, hey, remember how cool it was when Luke was able to lift a rock slightly? Well, now this guy, played by Sam Witwer, can lift fucking boulders, Star Destroyers, and do that all the fucking time. You suck, Luke! Look at me! I'm fucking Goku! It's... Oh god, it was so much fun to play. You play as Darth Vader's secret apprentice. Darth Vader and the Emperor have like a bunch of secret apprentices throughout the various canons. Like, you just kind of deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And your job is to hunt down a few remaining Jedi before you're strong enough to help Vader take over the Empire from the Emperor. And it was unique among Star Wars games, not just because of the Force powers, which were really cool, but also it was one of the first games to utilize mocap, specifically with the facial animation.
I remember that. It was so cool.
It was very cool at the time. Looks not so great now, but yeah, it's all right, and it got even better in the second game. And you just go as Darth Vader's secret apprentice, rampaging through the thing. And Darth Vader says, okay, so no one can know that you exist. So you have my permission to waste every motherfucker you see.
Yeah, exactly. You can't, no witnesses.
And it was oh god, it was jam-packed full of extras and cheat codes. The levels were really cool designed. It got a little samey by the end, just like, okay, I Kamehameha a Stormtrooper for the 100th fucking time. I get it. But then, you get a little bit extra. Oh, you see, there's a secret non-canon ending where you pick the dark side option, get turned into like a Darth Vader replacement sort of thing, and then you go to Tatooine, kill Boba Fett. Oh, that not enough for you? Well, then you go further on through Tatooine and fucking kill Obi-Wan Kenobi. Then later on you go to Hoth and you turn Luke Skywalker to the dark side.
I don't think that was in the Wii version.
But that's the thing, you see, because this is the weird thing. I first played it on PS2, then I played it on PS3, and there's a bunch of levels in the PS2 version that are not available in the PS3 version and vice versa. And this is back in the day where there were way too many platforms.
Yeah.
And they just made a different version for each platform.
Especially the Wii. The Wii got always like the kiddie versions of everything. Like the Ghostbusters games that everyone likes. It was totally different on the Wii.
Because the Wii was a video game console for babies.
Except the Force Unleashed got most of the things. They didn't get like the darkest stuff, but they got most of the things. And it is fun using those Force powers with motion controls.
I imagine it would be, because that's the one thing I hadn't considered. Yeah, and it's also just that game was just awesome because it brought out your inner sadist. Because like you get a stormtrooper and you kill all the stormtroopers except for one, and then you grab him, dang him over the ledge, like, oh, do you think I'm going to drop you? I never drop you. Here, I'm going to bring you into safety. Oh no, I'm going to push you back out again. The stormtrooper's screaming and crying and wetting his armor. It's just like, please, oh god, no, it's okay, I'm not going to hurt you, I'm not going to. Oh, little Zappa Force Lightning, oh, but that didn't kill you. No, it didn't kill you, you're absolutely fine. No, oh look, I'm going to drag you and rub you along your friends' corpses. Maybe it was just me. Maybe.
Yeah, I didn't do that as much, but
That's rough, buddy.
It was a long time.
Oh god, it was an awful lot of fun. Then it was followed up by The Force Unleashed 2, which was shit.
Well, I don't know. I never played it. Is that the one where I see clips of meeting Luke on Han?
Luke on Han? No, I think that's some fan fiction you've been reading.
No. There's a clip that I consistently see about The Force Unleashed where like you're on Han and you went into Luke or potentially Leia, but I seem to remember it's Luke because he's like coming out of a ship. And I
I
was
think
like,
that might
that
be
wasn't in my
Battlefront
game,
2.
but Starkiller's there.
Maybe. When you say on Han, what do you mean?
Like he's in like a frozen base. Like they're
On
they're
Hoth.
on
Hoth.
Hoth. I don't know what I said about Han.
I just imagine Luke standing on
I
Harrison
meant
Ford,
Hoth.
just like, you comfortable down there, buddy?
No, I meant Hoth. I don't know why I said Han. I meant Hoth.
Oh my.
Yeah, I think that might be the thing you're thinking of. That was the Force Unleashed 1.
That
That
was
was one of the
one.
extras I was talking about.
Yeah.
Force Unleashed 2, in the previous game, spoiler alert, you die. Oh no, Sam Witwer dies, but then he gets cloned. Except as anyone who knows a lot about Star Wars will tell you, it's always best not to clone Jedi because the Force aspect makes them go a little bit crazy Eddie in the heady. And then Darth Vader's like, okay, I'm going to train you, clone, and I'm going to do so by bringing up your girlfriend from the last movie. You know, the really bland one that can't act. Well, she's here now, and I want you to kill her. Oh, you're trying to escape because you don't want to kill her. Huh. I should have seen this coming. And then what follows is a game that runs about like an hour's runtime if you breeze through it, which is purely just you trying to reunite with your girlfriend. Whereas the previous game was about you assassinating Jedi, then trying to bring all the Empire's enemies out of hiding by pretending to form a rebellion, then having a change of heart and actually supporting the rebellion, then taking on Vader. It had lots of twists and turns. Here, it's literally just, I heard that she was in this planet, I'm going to go to this planet. Oh, she wasn't in this planet, but she's on this other planet, I'm going to go to that planet instead. And it's really... It's not fantastic. Like, the acting is still good, with the exception of the girlfriend, like I said. And the force powers are pretty much the same. The graphics are a bit more improved. You get 2 lightsabers now instead of 1. Ooh! But that's basically it. And it wasn't as fun. It was kind of short and... it ended on this really annoying cliffhanger, because we're never going to get resolution to it, where you capture Darth Vader and hold him prisoner, like strapped to like a plinth in your ship. And then you're just like, hey, I could have killed you, but I didn't. And Vader's like, as long as she's alive, I will always control you. And it ends on this weird sort of Empire Strikes Back note where like, okay, we've won, but have we? And the plan was for the third one to have Starkiller join up with Darth Vader to take down a bigger evil, and who knows how it would have happened. But it didn't happen because they never got around to it, and then EA took over.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the beginning of the end of LucasArts. They could have gone on. They were making other games, which we're going to talk about in a bit. But unfortunately, we never got a resolution to that. And indeed, it turns out the Rebel Alliance was brought together for different reasons in the new canon. So Starkiller inspiring people to start the Rebel Alliance, no longer in the canon. However, before all that, we got the crowning high achievement of Star Wars video game. A game series that lives on in infamy to this day. That is going to get a third one, a second sequel. One that people still play to this day and still enjoy to this day because it is top tier RPG material. Knights of the Old Republic.
Cool. I have never played it. I've only played Old Republic, which is the MMO.
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
I mean, I don't have a proper clip for that, but I just wanted to insult you somehow. You've never played it.
No.
It's on Steam. It's really cheap on Steam.
I'm sure it is. It's just I'm not good at lengthy RPGs other than
Well, that's the thing, you see. It's not that lengthy. I mean, it is kind of like the opening intro world is kind of lengthy, but then the game gets going and it kind of speeds up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the great thing about it is, BioWare were just like, okay, we want to do an RPG. Oh, but we can't really step on the toes of the current canon. It's going to be difficult to, do all this have something that's have a story that's of big enough consequence if it's set during the current time. What if we just said it a couple of 1,000 years ago? Thus, the Old Republic was born. And okay, I want to say I have also played the Old Republic MMORPG, and
Fun.
it's fine. It's fun. It's an MMORPG. Like, I just like to dick around with the character creator and do the first couple of opening levels, and then just kind of move on from that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really present as much of a challenge for me as, say, the Old Republic did. But the Old Republic, oh god, I almost don't want to tell you about the game.
I mean, I've heard a good chunk about it. I know, like, it's basically the precursor to Mass Effect, which I fucking love Mass Effect. So
It is, yeah, but it's a bit more. You can construct a bit more of a open-ended character than Mass Effect. So you do end up inevitably becoming a Jedi, but you start picking 3 different archetypes. You can be a man or a woman, but you can also be a scout, a soldier, or a scoundrel.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And you awaken on an Old Republic battle cruiser, the Endar Spire, that's currently been attacked by, oh no, they call it the Empire, but so this is where things get kind of complicated. And here's the thing, there's a huge backstory to this game. I'm gonna whiz by it just cause I can fucking do that. So there was this thing called the Mandalorian Wars. The Mandalorians were basically a warrior caste race who were obsessed not with violence, but with conquest, victory, and martial prowess. They weren't brute savages, they were noble warriors. And one day, these noble warriors looked at the Old Republic and said, well, they look like they've got a lot of military might. Let's fight them to see if we can win, for no reason otherwise, just to see if we can win. And wouldn't you know it, they almost did. They brought the Republic to their knees, to the brink of destruction. Meanwhile, the Jedi were all just like, we're not going to interfere because, like, we think there might be some dark shit going on, and we're going to see how things play out. But some Jedi were just like, dude, people are dying. It's our responsibility, our moral imperative to do something. No, we're just going to sit here and see how things go. Maybe we'll meditate a little bit. Oh, you've gone. And so a bunch of Jedi, led by this one Jedi called Revan, went off to fight the Mandalorians. And they won. They beat back the Mandalorians, but the Mandalorians, they're, bloodthirsty killers, but you know what? They're not sore losers. They weren't dicks about it. They were like, okay, you guys win. We tried, we failed, we're cool with it. And then Revan and his apprentice Malak were just like, okay, so we're going to go off to the unknown regions for a little bit and see what's out there. Then they came back. Hey guys, we're Sith now.
Yeah.
We're starting our own empire.
We're evil now. Hi.
Which this whole ties into the you'll be more familiar with this, the events of the Old Republic MMORPG. Turns out there was a secret Sith empire living in the mysterious part of space for a little while. They corrupted them, sent them back, boom. And then Darth Revan got killed by his apprentice Darth Malak, and this started. They give it a different name in the official canon lore. I think they call it like the New Sith Wars, or the Sith Wars, or the Sith Jedi Civil War. Something like that. I can't keep remembering. All you need to know, it's Jedi versus Sith yet again, because now the Jedi are just like, okay, fine, we'll help with this conflict. Jesus, if you won't shut up about it. And that's where the whole thing starts. And you, as this nameless character, well, you get to make up the name, go on a journey. Discover your Jedi roots, interact with a bunch of crazy characters, including a Wookiee, an ex-Mandalorian, the Wookiee's kid friend, Mission Veo, who is awesome. The guy who played fucking Caden from Mass Effect plays this one guy who can't trust people. A really uptight Jedi you fall in love with. This cat lady that no one remembers. A tiny little droid. A big droid that wants to murder everyone and everyone loves. And a bunch of other characters. And it's just so much fun. You get to customize so many things. You can customize your playstyle, choose lots of different force powers. The music is great. The levels are great. The story is fantastic. And there's a big twist at the end, which I'm not going to spoil here. You're just going to have to... No, I'm sorry. I'm not telling.
Skeletor to King Randor! Skeletor to King Randor! Come in, you royal boob!
Nope, not going to tell you. Just deal with it.
All right.
I mean, I've got to find some way to use that clip, you know? I know it's forced, I don't care. And this was followed by Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, where all the Jedi is dead except for you, and you've got to go off on more adventures with a slightly darker twist. And the game's good, but it's a bit rushed and unfinished. And I'm just going to say it, there is way too much dialogue. There's this one old bat named Kreia who, what's her motivation? But she just goes on and on and on and on. And the voice actor is very good, but she goes on and on and on and on and on and on and...
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
All the time, every day. And so I recommend you check both of them out. I really, really do. Just be prepared for the Sith Lords to not be as good as the previous one. And that's really all there is for the LucasArts film. Oh, wait, no, there's a ton more.
Yeah,
Seriously, Capers, we can't go over them all. These are just some of the standouts. I was about to say, there's three more. There's three more I want to talk about. Though there's over two, I just want to talk about the denouement and I want to talk about the highlight. These are ones that sort of scatter around, which are good, but actually one of them is really important to talk about. Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2.
Cool.
So everyone now knows the new Star Wars Battlefront. I'm gonna save my rant for later. I'll save my rant for later. And that was on the PS2 and now PC, and it was fucking amazing. The first one was good, solid, a great sort of classic Call of Duty Modern Warfare sort of shooter, but Star Wars. Lots of different classes, vehicles you can use, big maps full of exploration, which is really, really cool. The only weird thing about it was you could enable heroes, i.e., various Jedi, depending on the map you were on. But you couldn't play as them. They were just part of your army. They ran off and killed people randomly. And you couldn't control them, but they were invincible. Like, you shot at them, and they just automatically deflect all the blaster bolts back at you. So if you saw Darth Vader coming towards you as a rebel soldier, your ass was grass. There was no way to beat them. I only managed to beat, I think, like Count Dooku once on this Bespin level where you're in Cloud City and you're above like a bottomless pit. And so I lured him towards me, throw my grenade at the exact right moment. It doesn't kill him, but it does send him launching over the side, falling to his death. And I'm just like, I did it. I killed him. I'm just random clone trooper, but I killed him. Woo, go me! Oh, he's respawned. Oh shit! And then he just kills you with one shot, and I feel a little bit sad. But that's where Star Wars Battlefront 2 improved on, because not only could you play in loads more levels and loads more different ranks, and even have space battles, you could now play as Obi-Wan Kenobi, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, Mace Windu, Ki-Adi-Mundi for some reason. Actually, you know what? Fuck you. I like Ki-Adi-Mundi. He's nice. He's got a cute beard. I like Ki-Adi-Mundi. Mace Windu, General Grievous also, and just a bunch more people. And it was a lot of fun. It was as good as the classic, kid-friendly, but still very much detailed co-op multiplayer map shooter can get. It was fantastic. Then they remade them. Not going to talk about it yet because we've got to talk about. So yesterday I was talking about this with you, Alex, and we mentioned a strategy game, and I mentioned Empire at War. Empire at War is a strategy-based, turn-based Star Wars game where you could play as either like Rebel Alliance or the Empire. Except you want to play as the Empire because you can build the Death Star.
Yeah. That
And
might
you
be
can
the thing
blow
that my dad was
planets
saying.
with the Death Star. And it's basically... Because here's the thing. I always found the space battles in Empire at War really fun, but the ground battles were really annoying because if you weren't in an exact area, the fog of war just completely covered the map, so you couldn't see anything.
Mhm.
And enemies keep respawning, so battles went on for way longer than they should have. But you can skip all that if you play as the Empire and just blow up the planet. And it's very much like the Emperor of a Empire on fire sort of scenario. But it's a lot of fun, just like, you know what, fuck you. I don't want to go into a long, drawn-out ground assault. I'm just going to blow you guys up. Oh, what's that? You got a lot of cool resources I could use if I land and build bases? I don't care blowing you up. And you can blow it up mid-space battle.
So you blow up your own guys?
No, that's the thing. The guys in space, they're fine. But the enemy gets to watch you blow up their planet from orbit.
Jeez.
It's fun to be bad. Then came the dark times. EA was given the exclusive license. And...
Except for Lego.
Except for Lego. Oh, yeah, so we can't not talk about the Lego. I have not played any of the Lego Star Wars games. Have you?
Yeah, I had the first Wii version, the Lego, like they started with I think actually like they started as a Lucasfilms things and then went to like TT. So like the because the first one was Indiana Jones and then they did Star Wars.
Yeah.
But the first Wii Star Wars I had, like the quote unquote complete saga, which is not what it is. And then there was one that was like just the Force Awakens that I had. And that was pretty fun.
Did they do that for The Last Jedi?
I don't know. I think they might have like put out like after The Last Jedi, they probably put out one that was like all three instead of just because Lego games do way better when they're covering like a lot of stuff. That was one of the cool things about like the original one is that you have all these characters from all these different eras because they all come like you get to play all of the movies in like 6 chapters, which is pretty cool. And that was before they did voice acting, which now they do regularly, and it kind of sucks.
There's a new game coming out at some point this year, which made the trailer. The trailer made every single Star Wars fan, except for me, cream their fucking pants.
Yeah, because they're doing like...
Oh my.
They're creating their own stories now, which is what they've been doing with the DC stuff for years. Like when they started with like Lego Batman, which was like they had to come up with their own story because it's like what do they do? Like do they just do the 80s movies or do they do Dark Knight, which kind of wouldn't fit the tone of a kids game. So they just did they just came up with their own story and they were like, you know what? Fuck it. People seem to like this, so we're just going to keep doing that.
Yeah. And that was the best way to go. And in fairness, they built a huge franchise. I like Lego, but I like a lot of the Lego games, like from a distance. I played a few of the Marvel Lego games, which are quite a bit of fun. It's so weird to play as Captain Britain in a Lego game because they clearly didn't research the character at all. They just thought, Captain Britain, let's give him a posh accent and that'll be it. Oh, hello, I'm Captain Britain. Have you seen my automobile? And then you have to go to side quest to get his Mini Cooper. I'm not even joking. I'm insulted. I feel discriminated against. But it's... I guess I have an issue because when I was a kid...
They definitely do deep dives and like get them mostly accurately for the DC game. So it seems like someone's a little bit more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan at Lego.
Maybe. But I have an issue because when I was a kid, there was a toy shop near where I lived. I was like 11. And we'll go in and I would see at the very top shelf, up in the corner, there will be a Lego Millennium Falcon, priced at 99 whopping pounds sterling.
Yeah.
We've got to have money.
But I was like, one day, when I'm old enough, I'm going to spend £99 on a Lego Millennium Falcon. Nowadays, they're like 300 fucking quid.
Yeah, they're expensive.
It's so. It's really, really annoying because you look at some of the tiniest sets they have with just a bunch of cheap plastic. Well, not cheap plastic, but nevertheless plastic. And it's £30, £50, and it's really, really too much. When I was a kid, I used to get Lego Star Wars stuff. Like, okay, so when I was, again, 7 years old, 1999, I got for Christmas a Lego Gungan submarine thing. Hey, it was not a bad design. It was a fun little Lego thing, and yes, I got a little Lego Jar Jar.
Amazing.
I did not buy it for myself. It was bought for me by my parents, who I've established did not know any better. Yeah. So I guess, and I'm saying I both admire Lego right now and kind of despise them because the stuff is way too more expensive than it needs to be. But with the games, at least, I kind of respect them because they are good games. They are fun games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So it's mixed feelings. So, yeah. And what were we talking about before we got into Lego?
The Dark Ages.
Dark Ages.
I mean, it's the most, like, hit or miss, right? Like, there's the Fallen Order, which I've heard is fucking outstanding.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
No, but first things first, you got to have your mains before you have your pudding. We've got to talk about Star Wars Battlefront again. Because, like, not the original. So this was coming out and said, okay, you know what, maybe we'll add new things, maybe. And apparently they worked really hard with, like, Skywalker Sound and Lucasfilm to make the sound design really good. And they were really proud of that. A lot of dev videos on that. It's like, okay, this looks pretty cool. Okay, it plays pretty much the same as the original. Nothing massive. Oh, there's a reloading mechanic. Okay, that's kind of cool. Any big maps? No, not really. Oh, what kind of play is this one hero? Oh, you have to pick up a like a buff for that. Oh, okay. Well, can we have space battles? No. Oh, okay. Oh, we can have space battles. We can have a space battle. Oh, okay. Oh, what's that? It's DLC. Oh, I see.
We've got to have money.
I'm going to break that button by the end of this episode.
And
it was really disappointing. It wasn't terrible, but it was disappointing. Terrible came with Battlefront 2.
Loot boxes.
Loot boxes, microtransactions, and the most downvoted comment thing on Reddit in all of history. I mean, this was the chickens coming home to roost. This was the public, and indeed the various governments of, like, the UK, Belgium, and I guess Canada and the US, saying you can't do this shit anymore. You can't. The flagrant. I bring this up because people say now, I've talked about this on the show before, but people say now, oh, Battlefront 2, it's good now. And you know what? Yeah, it is. But it took us a long time to get to that point. And it's really inexcusable. And I will never use Battlefront 2 Redux as an example of EA making a good game. I'll use it as a cautionary tale about when corporate greed gets used for something that's sold to children. And the gameplay's fine. It plays good. It's very good. And there are space battles. It's still not complete, though. It's still not complete. There's a ton of stuff for multiplayer, but if you're playing offline in single player, and you want to have a space battle, okay, here's like 6 odd maps, if you're lucky, that are locked to certain factions. So, like, if you want to fly around, like, the ruins of the Death Star, you can only be the Rebel or the Empires. The Rebel or the Empires. The Rebels or the Empire. But you can also play as Darth Maul or someone from the Resistance era in, like, a special spaceship as one of the heroes. But you can't play generally. Whereas before in Battlefront, the map didn't matter. you could play as any faction you like. You would only be able to fight the opposing faction. So if you were clones, you could only fight battle droids, and if you were Empire, you could only fight rebels. You couldn't do like stormtroopers versus clone troopers. But fair enough, and you could still play on the maps. But they lock off the content based on the faction you pick. Except they clearly don't. Like consistency. EA could have some consistency, please.
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
Fair enough. Okay, moving on.
Could I? Is this a good time to talk about EA/Maxis's/ Star Wars's recent fucking worst thing that they did?
There is never an inappropriate time to bring that up, Alex. Go right ahead.
The Sims 4 Journey to Batuu. It fucking sucks.
You mentioned this to me yesterday, and it seemed like you were gearing up for something. So go.
So I've been kind of in a Sims kick for about a year now, and The Sims 4 has genuinely been getting better with their content. The Sims 4 kind of was just overall a letdown because it's not nearly as cool as like any of the other ones. They took out all the weird shit. But as they like were starting to get better with their like expansion packs and DLC, which is what The Sims 4 bread and butter is. It's like all extra paid content. You can buy like the base game for like $4 and then buy everything else for like together for like $200. It's insane.
We've got to have money.
Yeah, but that's been actually kind of the jam with The Sims since its outset. But so they announced Journey to Batuu, which isn't a full expansion. They have like 3 tiers of expansion packs, like big expansions, middling things that are just like gameplay mostly, and then like just items pretty much. And this was the middle one. So this was like a lot of gameplay stuff. It's like this new vacation world where so you can't live there, but you can stay there for as long as you want because they decided that it's something that like you're going to do the story here. And so you can break the rules that we've already established, which in vacation worlds, you can only stay for a certain amount of days and you have to go back to your life. But you can't do that here. You can stay as long as you want. You can go through 3 different factions. There's like, there's the First Order, there's, the Rebellion, and then there's like the other guys. They're just pretty much, I don't remember what they're called, but they're just the other guys who are like smugglers and stuff. And there's like 3 different neighborhoods. You can't live there. You can't build a house there. In fact, there's no lots that you can build on without cheats, which is insane for a Sims game. Like, that's just absurd. And like, there's a few things that the Sims community fucking hate. Shallow gameplay, story modes, and rabbit holes. And rabbit holes are things where you just walk in and you disappear and then things happen and you get little pop-ups and then they come out. And that's it. And that's the gameplay. This one hits all those boxes times a million. And doesn't add any new skills. You can buy a droid and it can follow you around and play music, and that's about it. And you can also buy a lightsaber, but there's no like lightsaber skill. I was kind of hoping for like, they have these like special occult Sims that like have different abilities and are like, they're like vampires and mermaids and spellcasters. I wanted an occult Sim for Jedi. No, can't have it. And like,
it makes you wonder if this was not just like a pilot program for like a complete Sims Star Wars game.
Yeah, but they stopped doing spin-off games a while ago. So that it is a 1-to-1 recreation of the actual like Batuu amusement park in Disney World and Disneyland. It is just an advertisement for that. You can end up meeting like Kylo and Rey, depending on the fact. The guy who runs the third guy is, I think, a guy from Clone Wars, but I'm like, why is he here? I guess they just needed a third guy.
Ponda Baba, whatever his name is.
I don't know. He's like the pirate guy from from Clone Wars.
Yeah, that Pondo Baba.
Yeah,
I can never
okay.
remember his full name, but I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, but like this is like the first time they've had like licensed content in The Sims 4. They used to do it in The Sims 3. The closest they ever got was there was a Katy Perry expansion pack which flopped. But
I'm not surprised.
yeah,
Why? What? Now you can look like Katy Perry, but why would we want
exactly.
to?
So yeah, the this is the first like licensed content. So like part of The Sims, the cool thing about The Sims is that you can like date whatever NPC they create, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna date Ray. You can't date Ray. You have to you have to use cheats to force her to like join your family, and then you can date her because then she'll be like an NPC. It is it is just so shallow. It is like the worst of the worst. And it's so obvious that this was an EA telling Maxis they have to fucking do this. Because the next pack, the immediate right after pack, is one of the best packs they've ever done. So it's like, and they've been making up for this shit. Like the next like 3 or 4 packs were all things that the community voted for. Because they needed to
Okay.
make up for this shit. It's so bad.
Oh well.
That's rough, buddy.
That sounds bad. I mean, I don't play The Sims, so I don't know, but that sounds bad. And this is what happened because they killed LucasArts, and EA was just like, "Don't worry, guys, don't worry. We're going to give you a bunch more cool Star Wars games." Followed by like Star Wars Angry Birds, then nothing, then Star Wars Battlefront, then Battlefront 2, and that was what we were left with. And we're just like, this is awful. This is just awful. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And Disney were just like,
All right, now get out there and make me some goddamn money.
and so they were just like, okay, what if we give them exactly what they asked for? A single player game, no microtransactions, clear levels, including a bunch of mechanics that we basically lift from other games that people really, really like, combined with a story that people can actually get to grips with and actually enjoy. Will that make you satisfied? Will that make you satisfied?
Starring the Joker.
Starring the Joker. Fallen Order. Fallen Order is fucking fantastic. Have you played it?
No, because I'm bad at Souls-like games, so I'm scared of it.
Fair enough. There's a lot of platforming, a lot of exploration, a lot of going back on stuff, which I'm not a big fan of, but it's still a really good game. You are Cal Kestis, Ginger Extraordinaire,
You are
and
the
Survivor.
Joker.
You are the Joker. And Survivor of Order 66, and you have to join it with this lady with kind of buggy eyes, this really cool little alien pilot dude, as you go about the galaxy trying to find a hologram that has the secret location of a bunch of Jedi kids. And it's a really fucking great game with interesting characters, cool moments, great combat and force powers requiring you to use your brain, but it's still also it's like it's a Souls-like game, but it's not nowhere near as hardcore. But you can set it to hardcore, which if you like that sort of thing, which I very much don't. And it broke records.
Mhm.
Everyone loved it, and he was just like, "Huh, maybe our entire company ethos has been wrong this whole time."
Didn't they cancel like 3 games that were also supposed to be like that?
Yes, this is so. After that, we got Squadrons, which I played a bit of. I still haven't completed the campaign of that because they put you in this non-character rather than giving you a character to play. And it's like, wouldn't it be cool if you could create your own character, but they have a personality where you're fighting off against your rival on the opposing side? No, you interact with people far more interesting than you, and whiz around a bunch of different maps, which is a lot of fun. It's kind of stripped down, but you know what? It's still a good, solid game. I do recommend it. But then there's all the games that got fucking cancelled. We have to start with... Well, really, we have to start with Star Wars Battlefront 3. 2008, we were going to get Battlefront 3, and it was going to be cool because you could fly from the ground of the planet to space and engage in the space battle. It's going to be really cool, but it went through kind of development hell, honestly. We saw a bunch of footage from that back in the day. It looked really cool, but it just never came to fruition for various reasons. One thing that was going to be really cool was 1313. Have you heard of this?
No.
So Star Wars 1313, we actually got a trailer for it. And have you seen that show Heart of Dixie?
No?
Have you seen this new show where Simone Messick is a judge?
No?
Have you? What else? What else? Oh! Did you see like season 3 of Daredevil?
No, I watched up to 2 and then I gave up.
Fuck. Okay, so one of the guys from all those things I mentioned, who is a good actor, was in this trailer. They mocapped his face much like The Force Unleashed, and what it was going to be is like, you are going to be a smuggler that got cast down to the lowest depths of Coruscant's underbelly, i.e. Coruscant level 1313. And it was going to be like an Uncharted game where you got to whiz around the place, shooting bad guys, and try and make a name for yourself as a bounty hunter. Then George Lucas was like, hey guys, what are you making? Oh, we're making a cool Uncharted-like game featuring this brand new smuggler character we made up. Oh wow, gee, that's cool, yeah, I like that. Make him Boba Fett.
Mm-mm.
What? Make him Boba Fett. I want him to be Boba Fett. Okay. We're quite a way through development, George. Make him Boba Fett. Okay. Jesus, fine. You're the boss. And so that's what it's going to become. And we're going to get a bit of concept art for that. It's basically going to be a young Boba Fett. Now he's going to try and make himself a big-time bounty hunter in 1313. And it would look to be good. Then the merger happened. Then LucasArts got gutted. So we were never going to get it. And it's really, really annoying. But the problem didn't stop there. A Maul game got cancelled. Even though people really like Darth Maul and really wanted to play as like a stealth game with Darth Maul. Then there was going to be something called Project Ragtag. This is much more recent. It was going to be released on PlayStation 4. It was going to be a third-person action-adventure, somewhat sandboxy game that was going to be led by the creator of the Uncharted series. And it was under development by Visceral Games. It was going to be really cool. And then it got cancelled.
Oops.
By EA. And it basically got passed around a bunch of different studios. And it was cancelled because, what's this, a single-player game? Cool, but how can we make money off of that? Well, you could sell it in shops for money. Yeah, but we want to milk our customers dry of every single penny they have. This was pre-Battlefront 2, bear in mind. This was pre the whole loot box thing. And so they cancelled it. Then Battlefront 2 happened, and the huge backlash from that. So if they just waited a little longer, we could have gotten a cool game. And maybe they're going to repurpose that into this brand new Ubisoft game. We don't know. We also hear that we might... Actually, I think we are getting a Knights of the Old Republic 3, maybe? I
that would
can't
still
remember.
be EA, though, because BioWare is owned by EA.
Yeah, but they were owned by EA when they made Mass Effect.
Yeah, and they were also owned by EA when they made fucking Andromeda. So, like...
That's a very good point you made just there. We're not going to go down the road of Andromeda. We're not going to... And so that's where we are. So, I guess Lucasfilm via video games, I guess, are at a turning point. It looks like we're going to go back to those classic old games. There's a few games we didn't mention, like Republic Commando, which was really good. It was like a first-person shooter that I never played. Bounty Hunter, where you got to play as Jango Fett, and was really cool up until like a third of the way through the game when you realized, oh, this is impossible to play. Because you shoot really slow, actually really fast, but you barely do any damage. But then people just grief on you, just swarm you. And it's a platformer where you have to slowly turn the camera like it's on tank controls.
Really?
What the fuck? It was a lot of fun for the first like couple of levels. Once you get the jetpack, it's a little bit more fun, even though it allows you to jetpack for about a second. And also, I want to mention Racer's Revenge, because there was an arcade pod racing game, and then there was released for consoles Star Wars Racer. We got to play as young Anakin Skywalker, but then there was Racer Revenge. We got to play as older Anakin Skywalker, but also a bunch of other infinitely more interesting characters that aren't given any character development in the game. But fuck you, I want to play as Teamto Pagales. You don't know who that is.
No.
Teamto Pagales is awesome. He's this gross, disgusting goblin mutant thing, but by his own species standards, he's like a heartthrob. And he actually made an appearance in the 1999 Phantom Menace game, like on Tatooine, where you're getting things ready for the pod race. As Qui-Gon, you go and talk to Teamto, and Teamto's like, "Hey, you seem pretty cool. I like that kid Anakin. He seems really nice, and he's just generally a cool dude." It was a lot of fun, and I was just like, "Oh, thank you. I'm trying not to vomit." Cool. And there's a bunch more games that I never got to play. There was a Clone Wars game, released for various platforms. A bunch of like Rogue Squadron games and X-Wing games, Rebel Assault games. A classic strategy game called Star Wars Galactic Battlegrounds, which I think you mentioned your dad might have played.
Potentially, like, I don't know. It's an older game that he plays like at least once a year. It's just like it seems like a strategy game, but the only like view that you have is just like a star map with like a droid hanging out by like the console. And you just like send different troops to different planets, and you're like building up to build if you're the Empire, the Death Star. I don't remember what the end game is for the Alliance, but definitely the Death Star is the end game, and you have to like blow up Hoth. And like, Luke's on Hoth, you've blown it up, hell yeah, it's game over, you win.
I mean, it's basically the sci-fi equivalent of Dungeons and Dragons' Fireball times a million. It solves all problems. And shit, we didn't even get into some of the really crap ones. Like, oh god, so there's this thing called Star Wars Masters of Terras Kasai. Casey, I can't remember how it's pronounced. You may remember it being mentioned offhandedly in Solo, a Star Wars movie by fucking Daenerys. And it's basically like a Street Fighter fighting game with like hand-to-hand combat / lightsabers, but it's shit. Not nearly as shit though as
Connect Star Wars.
No, I'm about to say the title.
Okay.
I'm about to say the title, but it's just so fucking awful. It makes me physically ill to say it, so I'm just gonna have to say it very quickly. Star Wars Super Bombad Racing. Oh god!
Yeah, that's not this.
It's not good. So it's basically Mario Kart, but with just like various Star Wars space vehicles with like the characters sticking out of them with like super large heads. And when you see Jar Jar's super large head jabbing away from you from the screen, it will make you want to kill yourself. It's not good at all. And there's so much more beyond that. This is why I'm talking about LucasArts with such reverence, because yeah, they made a few stinkers, but they've been making games since 1983? Yeah, around that. Yeah, 1983. Since then, they've been making games consistently up until 2012, 2013, wherever it was, where they were just gutted. And they didn't just make Star Wars games, though. They made Indiana Jones games, point-and-click adventure games from Monkey Island, and all these other fantastic games, and some shit. I'm looking at you, Star Wars Connect.
Yeah.
Oh, so many pinball games. No. But who knows? Maybe we're going to get a turnaround this time. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is fun to play now. Fallen Order was an awful lot of fun. A Ubisoft open world game. I'm struggling to think of any Star Wars game that's actually been open world. They've usually been divided into levels, big, expansive levels, but
I mean,
very rarely.
Old Republic is kind of like once you get there, it is kind of open world. Obviously, I mean it's an MMO, so you're like restricted by levels. If you go to a place that you're not ready for, you get your shit fucked.
You can
But
travel between planets, though.
yeah, you can travel between planets, and then those planets are fucking huge.
Yeah, and so maybe we'll see you down the line. But all I ask, Lucasfilm, Disney, EA, Ubisoft, or whoever you are, is that you remember both the sins of the past and also what was so good about it. Because this whole thing with the microtransactions and loot boxes, that's not going away in terms of the backlash. Governments have mounted watertight legal cases against it, and calling them surprise mechanics is not going to change that. You can't put gambling in stuff for kids or microtransactions because it's predatory business practices. I remember when I was about to say when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, you bought a game, maybe there was some DLC, it was usually reasonably priced, and that was it. That was fine. And then when I became older, we just got viewed as wallets to be emptied and shaken by the ankles until whatever falls out finally drops. And you can't do that anymore. You just can't do that. Not only because you are going to lose money. Yay. Look what happened when you made BioWare do Anthem. Look. Yeah. And you can, and this is what I love about CG Projekt Red, we mentioned earlier, because they had a spotless, stellar record in the right up to a few weeks before release. But then stuff started coming out about the crunch. People really didn't like that. But they were like, okay, it's fine, it's okay. Then they released the game. It was rushed, it was awful, it was not good, and their reputation went to nothing almost overnight. And I don't know if they're ever going to recover from it. Because here's the thing. It's like what I say about films. You can't afford to make a crappy film anymore. Because if you do, people will live tweet how shit it is, and then they'll send it to all their friends, will send it to all their friends, and word of mouth can kill a film before the end of opening weekend. And it's the same with games now, because people live stream them, they do Let's Play, they go on Twitch and stuff, and I don't even need to listen to IGN anymore.
The difference between movies and video games, and then something that like video games, a lot of like games that had like terrible launches that have capitalized on, is that you can down the line a few years from now we might have a No Man's Sky situation with Cyberpunk 2077, which like is that it probably fucking rules. I can see that game a year from now or 2 years from now getting the you need to play it because it's actually good now treatment, because like No Man's Sky, I hear that all the fucking time.
And Battlefront 2.
Great.
Yeah, maybe, and that's great if it happens, but they had to spend an ungodly amount of time and money in further development to get it to this point, the point where it's popular enough for them to properly start making a profit off of it.
You can fix a video
There are
game,
no quick cash grabs anymore, is what I'm saying.
You can fix a video game, you can't fix a movie. Once it's out, it's out. That's it.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Well,
but
then there's Zack Snyder.
Then there's Zack Snyder.
We've got to have money.
Yeah. So that's the history of Star Wars. Is there any other Star Wars games you want to talk about before we finish?
I can't think of one currently.
Yeah. And the reason why I want to do this is because I'm aware that Star Wars is not mine. I don't have ownership of it because there were fans before I was even born, and there were fans long after I became a fan of it. There's brand new, tiny little babby fans right now who really love like these new movies, even though they're shit. Trust me, kids, that feeling is going to fade pretty damn fast once you hit puberty. But I think they, above anyone else, deserves better quality of games that don't try and leech them of all their parents' money, games that don't talk down to them, and the same with films and stuff. And I get that it's Star Wars is a business, it's a franchise, and they're going to try and make a ton of profit, and I'm fine with that. But it seems now Star Wars is turning around. It's turned a corner. It's becoming better for consumers, and it's telling better stories and producing better movies and shows and video games. And hopefully that very much is the case. But I want people to remember, it took us 8.5 years to get to this point. From the moment the merger happened, it took about 8 years for Star Wars to get good again. We can never forget that. When we keep moving forward, trying to provide the best quality entertainment for the kids, I think we might have something really special on our hands. As long as Ubisoft can stop fucking being evil dickbags. Hope springs eternal. Oh, God. On that note, I think we're getting the show. Thank you very much, Alex, for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, even though I didn't have much of a knowledge of this.
Hey, you talked more about The Sims than I would have ever known. You contributed, it's fine. And if you enjoy the show, Capers, please tell your friends, shout it from the rooftops. And if you haven't already, go back and listen to some of our other super episodes, like the past time we talk about Star Wars, we talk about it a depressingly large amount. You can listen to the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, or at podgapers.com. If you want to get in touch with us, suggest show topics, or maybe come on the show yourself, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at AP2HYC. Thank you very much to Dan Harris for our logo, the lovely microphone, the red and blue 3D glasses, those are mine. And thank you for listening. This has been Podcapers, the official podcast for a place to hang your cape.
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
Cue the music!